All right, YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nolan. We got a good NBA topic for you to discuss today. Please remember to like and subscribe, get in the comments, whatever you got to say, your thoughts on our videos on the NBA, whatever you want. Let us know, connect with us there. So, yes, if you saw it the other night, the Knicks beat the Spurs, NBA Cup final. That was fun. A fun game. It's always fun when Wemby's playing, and the Knicks look pretty good. They could go on a little bit of a run. That was one of my finals picks. Them versus OKC, who's running away with the league. But it was nice to see OKC not in the finals because they will be this year, everyone thinks. So the Knicks get a win. That was exciting, but this video, I would like to talk about the drama in the NBA, and the biggest drama, of course, that's been going on is the Chris Paul saga. If you haven't heard, Chris Paul, Hall of Fame point guard, one of the best point guards of all time, is going to be sent home or was sent home by the Clippers during a road trip. They sent him back to LA, and it's gone pretty bad for the Clippers this season, and signing Paul was kind of a huge mistake. So Ramona Shelburne from ESPN just wrote a story that released the other day where she looks at the Chris Paul situation. It seems like, her insider was from Chris Paul and his team, because they got a lot of drama. They got a lot of the stories that you wouldn't expect them to get, maybe. So it had to come from Chris Paul and his team. It doesn't sound like the Clippers coaching staff is really talking about this situation that much. So from the article, it was interesting. I like the inside look at the Chris Paul situation, what really happened. And of course, it's just like he annoyed the hell out of everyone. Like, that's what Chris Paul does. So, I mean, some of the interesting things from the article, I thought they said he played a lot in the preseason. So his minutes in the preseason made him think that he'd be a bigger part of the rotation. And when you get 5 did not plays, coaches' decisions in a row, which he ended up getting, it's like clearly the writing's on the wall. They don't see you as part of the rotation. And that's not really going to work for Chris Paul. I thought it was also interesting that in the article, they said from an anonymous source, they didn't bring him in to be a cheerleader, which is funny. That just acknowledges that there are lots of teams where guys are just cheerleaders. They're not really expected to play. If injury happens, yes, they're serviceable. Somebody can step in, but there are roles for guys just to be kind of like a backup quarterback, a leader, a mentor, a cheerleader, for lack of a better word. But I mean, also that Chris Paul tried to have a Halloween party and rent out a box at SoFi, and barely any of the teammates came. That one's a little sad, but it's kind of makes sense. I think people are just annoyed a little bit by Chris Paul, and guys, hear him complaining or telling them what to do all the time. They don't show up to his party. That one was pretty sad. But also the one that I think is the most damning is that he didn't talk to Ty Lue or Van Gundy. Ty Lue is the head coach and Van Gundy is the assistant coach. Like, that's kind of on the coaches, I think. Like, if you sign Chris Paul, you got to know that he's going to make his opinion known. And if you're losing a ton of games like the Clippers are, he's going to be annoying as hell. And he's going to say his opinion, and he's going to 1 minute and say, these guys can't play and give me the ball. And what are you doing? Why are you playing defense like this? Like, you have to expect this as a coach. So, all right, so let's watch a clip of NBA insider, NBA writer. I don't know exactly what his title is, but Rick Bucher has an interesting take on the Chris Paul situation and asks kind of a poignant question about free agents and how this kind of works with the Clippers. So let's pull up that clip and react.
Paul situation impact the perspective of players on the Clippers franchise, and does it factor in any way in their ability to get free agents?
Doesn't factor in their ability at all. First and foremost, as you've heard people sound off about Chris Paul, some positive and some negative, it's a mixed bag on whether some people like him and some people don't. So it's not like this is someone that's super beloved by the league like Steph Curry. Like everybody loves Steph. Hey, there's a show. Everybody hates Chris, and he's starring in it. And so I don't think that
Hmm.
the league is going to be like, oh man, I ain't going to LA. I saw how they did Chris Paul. First and foremost, they're going to want to get their money.
Yeah.
You brought up Blake Griffin. Did that stop Kawhi and Paul George from going to LA? Nah, they knew how they did Blake Griffin, but they were like, nah, this is where we can get the most money. This is where we think we can get the most wins. We
Mm-hmm.
think we can win a championship here. It's still LA. You're in that market. You're in that city with the bright lights.
I think Rick Bucher is getting into something that is interesting to me, at least kind of the big story from the Chris Paul thing is, will this affect the Clippers' free agencies? Will guys look at this and say, you treated Chris Paul wrong and sent him home in the middle of the night on a road trip? That's wrong. We're not going to sign with you. And clearly the answer is no. Obviously not. Guys are signing up to play in LA left and right, and sometimes will even take less money to play in LA because of the weather, because it's fun, because if you start winning, you know, you get stars and celebrity and cool things and cool status if you win in LA. And so I think this is the most important thing to take from the Chris Paul thing that no one seems to be talking about. Oh, don't do Chris Paul like that. Oh, he got on FaceTime with Blake Griffin and DeAndre. Isn't that interesting? They bashed the Clippers. You know, that's all interesting. I like the gossip. But I think the main takeaway is you can do this if you are a city that NBA players want to sign with, like Miami and the LA teams and the New York teams. And, you know, if you are a free agent destination, you can do this. But if this was Indiana or Memphis or Minnesota or Milwaukee who treated Chris Paul like this, they would be getting roasted and everyone would be saying like they damaged their franchise and they can't be doing things like this. So it just points to the competitive advantage in the NBA for teams that are desirable to play in with great cities that NBA players, young guys in their 20s and 30s want to play in. They can get guys to go there no matter kind of how they behave. I mean, the Clippers will have free agents galore, people knocking on their door, please let us play here, let us play for the Lakers, let us play for the Knicks, let us play for Miami. So it is interesting. I think the biggest takeaway that I have is that teams like OKC really have to build the right way and haven't done it with a lot of free agents. I mean, I know they signed some good ones, but it's been draft picks and trades. They got Shea via trade, and they're the best team in the league. So you definitely can do it in the NBA as a small market, but you just got to be perfect because the other coastal big cities have an advantage that is we can always attract players to come here no matter kind of how we behave and no matter what our reputation is. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please comment below.